Remember that foam stuff I put in my tires? Cushcore? Let's talk about it. So, as you know, I've been running Cushcore on and off since the middle of summer. They've come with their fair share of frustrations. Installing and removing Cushcore, it's kind of like installing your first set of tubeless tires for the first time. It's really hard at first, but then you find the tricks and it becomes easier.
Before we go any further, let's talk about those tricks that made my life easier. The first trick is to really push the tire into the center of the rim, called the well. This will give you the slack needed to pull the tire over the last bit of rim. Trust me, when you think you got all the slack needed out of the tire, go around again and you'll find a little bit more slack. Keep doing this over and over and eventually you'll be able to get it. It's still going to be a little bit tight, but you should be able to do it without a tire lever. I have found using a shirt or a rag lets me get a better grip on the tire to help me pull it over the last bit. Another thing I found is that when you go to push the tire into the center of the well, sometimes it will get caught on the rim tape, and this will cause the rim tape to bunch up and start to peel off. So to fix that, we used a rim tape that was slightly wider than the actual rim. So for example, my rim has an internal diameter of 31 millimeters, so the rim tape I'm using measures 32 millimeters. This helps because when you install the tire is already sitting on the rim tape. There's no lip for the tire to catch when you're pushing the tire into the well to mess the rim tape up. The last thing I'm going to recommend is a good set of tire levers. Now, I've always been one to use plastic tire levers. That way I don't damage my rim. But when removing the tire with Cushcore installed, you're gonna want to use metal tire levers. The plastic tire levers just don't have enough strength to prevent them from flexing. I'm personally going to recommend these blue Park Tool tire levers. They have a metal core for strength and a rubber coating to prevent you from damaging the rim.
How do they feel on the trail? That's the most important thing. And after running Cushcore and then not running Cushcore, it makes a big difference. I've run it with several different tires, different PSI, and I don't think I can go back to not running it, at least on my on that bike. I should add, this whole time I'm only running a Cushcore in the back because that's where I find I flat the most, and usually the front tire is not an issue. The biggest difference that it made is I didn't have to be as careful when bombing through rock gardens like the one behind me. Even with a normal tire pressure, I found myself having to be a little bit more careful when going through rock gardens when I was not running the insert. For my riding style, I don't quite like that. I like to throw caution into the wind and just kind of plow through things. So it's really nice to have a system that allows me to just bomb through rock gardens without even thinking about it. Honestly, it's the peace of mind from Cushcore that I really like. So normally I run about 27 PSI in the back. With Cushcore, I found myself running more like 22 to 24. Somewhere in that range is a sweet spot. However, to show you just how confident I am in these Cushcore inserts, I'm gonna put the tire pressure all the way down to 9 PSI and send this drop right behind me.
In fact, that went so smoothly, I decided to keep going down the trail. Let's see that in slow motion so you can really see how much the Cushcore is working. Normally, if I wasn't running Cushcore right there, I would have been walking back home. Another benefit of Cushcore, it really helps support your tire and prevents it from rolling when you're going through a berm.
I think most people that I've showed it to were surprised about just how dense Cushcore was. And that's something that's really hard to see when you don't have the physical product in your hands. So while we say it's foam, I don't want you guys to think of it as foam, because it's not the foam that you sleep on. It's not your Tempur-Pedic kind of foam. It's much more dense and there's a lot more substance to that. But Cushcore does have its drawbacks. It's one more step to install your tire. So if that's something that you don't want, then it's probably not for you. Something else, it does add quite a bit of weight to your rims. For me, I don't mind it. I do notice it when I'm climbing. However, the benefits while I'm riding downhill are justified, and when I ride without it, I feel like I can't be as aggressive as I really want. If you're a cross-country racer, it's probably not for you. If you are a beginner mechanic, it's probably not for you. However, if you're somebody who hates flats and loves to ride aggressively, I definitely recommend checking it out. Let's talk about the price though. I think a better way to think of Cushcore is, instead of thinking of, hey, you're spending $159 for a piece of foam, you're spending $159 to be able to ride more aggressively, have better traction, prolong the longevity of your wheels, and ultimately not flat. There are certainly other systems out there. You could get the Huck Norris. It's a pretty good product. It doesn't have the same characteristics as Cushcore, but definitely prevents pinch flatting. It's a little bit easier to install. So if that's something you're into, look at that. So yeah, that's my review of Cushcore. 2 thumbs up from me. Adds a little bit of complication, but overall, it's pretty enjoyable. So, as always, my name is Phil Metz. Thanks for playing bikes with me today, and I'll see you guys next time.